Hello, this is Mrs. Everett, the SCA School Counselor, Director of Guidance and Enrollment Services, and I wanted to welcome you to our Sophomore Fall Planning Webcast. This is just a great opportunity for you to be able to get some important planning information as you, as parents and students, look towards the future, towards graduation, towards college, and whatever the Lord has for you beyond that. I wanted to first introduce myself. This is my first year back in the school counselor position, and I've actually been at SCA for almost 10 years now. I started out in guidance, but I've also served as the middle school principal and also the director of school effectiveness, and I now am back in guidance, and I love it. This is my first love, and I'm so happy to be working with you this year. This is an extremely busy time of year, and I'm going to do my best to keep in contact with you as parents and students, keep you updated with important guidance information through email and also our SCA guidance website that was just recently expanded. The mission of the SCA Guidance Department is to enhance the student experience in achieving academic excellence. The focus of our school counseling program is to assist students in making wise decisions as they seek God's will for their lives and as they plan their careers, develop their relationships, and also form that very important biblical worldview, obviously based on the principles of God's Word. It is my prayer for our students this year that they will be grounded spiritually, and that spiritual focus will overflow into their personal lives and also their academic lives and their future careers, because we know that God has a perfect plan for them and we want them to follow God's will for their life. And so that's our goal in the counseling department, is to help our students stay focused on what God has for them. So as we talk about sophomore year, sometimes the sophomore year gets a little bit of a bad reputation just because it lacks some of the milestones or some of the excitement that typically come with the other years of high school. Freshman year, there's a lot of excitement and new. All the students are starting high school, experiencing all the firsts of high school, so that's an exciting year. Senior year obviously comes with the culmination of graduation. They have senior trip, senior retreat, applying to colleges, thinking about their future. Junior year is even exciting because they are upperclassmen. A lot of them are starting to get their driver's licenses. They're talking about their future, thinking about college. There's a lot of excitement there. So then sophomore year kind of falls in the middle there, and the term is sophomore slump. Sometimes students fall into a slump. However, none of our students can afford to fall into a sophomore slump. Sophomore year is very important to build a trend of solid study habits, establishing a firm GPA. If a slump does occur, it's very difficult to have a comeback and rebound from poor grades or creating or forming poor study habits. So sophomore year is very crucial in building a solid foundation for the remainder of high school. The first thing that I wanted to talk with our students about is the National Honor Society. Sophomore year is the first year that our students are able to be considered for National Honor Society. This is 10th through 12th grade students. Our induction is typically held in April of each year. What happens is that our students that meet the minimum qualifications for National Honor Society in about March are given an application to join National Honor Society. It's their decision whether they would like to apply to join. They get that application that is passed out to them, all the qualifying students, by the National Honor Society sponsor. The minimum qualifications are listed here on the screen for you. That's a 3.65 cumulative GPA that is weighted. They must be carrying at least 2 honors courses in their academic load. If they are not carrying honors courses or they're only carrying one, they do not qualify, even if they do have the minimum GPA. Must have a strong moral character with no suspensions or disciplinary issues on their record. And they also must have a minimum of 20 community service hours documented in the guidance office. If they have them and you have them at home in your file, but they're not in the guidance office, we don't know. And so we can't give you credit for them. So please make sure that as you're doing your community service, you're getting those turned into the guidance office. And I'll talk a little bit more about community service here in a moment. Once the students complete the National Honor Society application, all of those applications are turned over to the NHS evaluation process. All of the teachers and administrators will evaluate all the applications, and the students who go through the process successfully will be inducted into National Honor Society. We let the students know in late March, early April, who will be inducted. And then the induction ceremony, we let all the parents know there's a nice induction ceremony during chapel in later April, and we have a nice brunch as well, our lunch for our National Honor Society inductees. So this is a very nice honor, and we want to make sure that we can showcase all the hard work that our students have done. If you have any specific questions that I didn't answer about National Honor Society, you can feel free to email me and I'll be happy to help you. National Honor Society is a great accolade to have for college. Colleges like to see those types of achievements on students' records. So as you're thinking about college and career, National Honor Society is something very important. Now talking about college and career planning, sophomore year is a great year to kind of talk, dream, plan, explore what potentially God has in your future. I would encourage, have some family conversations. Ask yourself, ask your child, what do you see yourself doing in 5 to 10 years? What piques your interest? What do you think is cool? And have some conversations and just talk, explore. Maybe meet with some people in the career field that you're interested in. You may go to church with somebody, or you may have a neighbor that has a career that's something you're very interested in. Talk with them. Obviously, we want you to pray as a family. Make this a matter of consistent prayer. Talk to the Lord. What would you have for me, Lord? What do you want? Oh, show your path. We know God has a perfect will for each of our students, and we want them to follow that. Sophomore year is also a great time to take some trips to explore some colleges or even some career fields. You want to start this process early so you don't feel rushed or at a loss when it comes to junior and senior year. When we get to junior and senior year, we'll talk more specifically about how to choose a college, paying for college, those types of things. But sophomore year is your year for planning and praying. Community service. I talked about that in regards to National Honor Society, but you want to focus on building your base of community service hours your sophomore year. The more you can get done earlier in high school, the less stress you're going to experience your senior year. Senior year, if you're busy doing all of your applications and trying to do all the fun things that go along with senior year and try to get community service in, it can feel very stressful. So work on that your sophomore year. It's not just about the quantity of your community service hours, it's also the quality. When colleges look at community service or scholarship organizations, they like to see that you've done a lot of community service, but they also want to see that you have dedicated yourself to a cause within the community. So think about where you want to invest your time in your community service. And then always document. It's really easy to get that community service, but then if you forget to document, it's like it never happened. So please make sure that you document those hours. On the SCA Crusaders website, if you click on school forms, you can download as many copies as you like of the community service form, and those are very important that you keep filled out and recorded. You can drop those off in the SCA guidance office at any time, and I will keep those in your guidance file and log those. I do keep a log of all of them and a cumulative total on your transcript, and also you can actually look at them through RenWeb as well. If you log in through the web browser version of RenWeb, not in your app, but the web browser version, you can actually go to student information and click on the community service tab or the service hours tab and see a log of all the hours that you've turned in. Another thing that you'll want to pay very close attention to is you want to make sure that your community service hours are meeting a social need. But what that means is you want to address something that is a need within the community, like hunger or homelessness or childhood literacy. Bright Futures, the scholarship organization, is very specific about what they mean by a social need. And I'll talk about Bright Futures in just a second, but a social need is something that I just mentioned, that it's a need within the community. Unfortunately, faith-based community service, such as like evangelism, like teaching a Sunday school class, does not necessarily is not classified as a social need, and so those hours don't count. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do community service with your church. It just needs to be a ministry within the church that focuses on a social need. So an example would be a church that has a food pantry, or maybe a church that has a clothing ministry for the homeless, or your church may have an after-school reading program for at-risk children. Those would all count, but like I said, not teaching a Sunday school class or being the teacher at a VBS. Those hours would not count, but other hours may count. So if you have any questions, or if it seems like a gray area, please feel free to email me, and I can give you a little bit of guidance on how those hours count. I just mentioned the Florida Bright Future Scholarship. The Florida Bright Future Scholarship is a scholarship available to any student that graduates from a state of Florida high school, public or private, and attends a state of Florida college or university, the public schools. Now, it is available at many private universities in the state of Florida. It just may not cover as much, like it may not cover all of the tuition like the numbers here on the screen state. So there are two levels of this scholarship. The first level is the Florida Academic Scholars. This actually covers 100% of tuition at a Florida State University or community college. So 100% of the tuition. It also gives $300 towards books in the fall and in the spring, and some new legislation was passed where it will actually begin covering summer semesters as well. So that's awesome. Basically full ride to any state of Florida school, public school. And then you will get the equivalent amount of money if you choose to go to a private university in the state of Florida. It does not transfer to any schools outside the state of Florida. It is the requirement is when you graduate, you must have a 3.5 weighted GPA, and that's in the 16 core academic classes. It does not take into account the electives like chorus or art or weight training or any of the non-core academic classes. So the 16 core academic classes, that's English, math, science, history, and the foreign language. They also must have 100 hours of community service, just like what we talked about, those community service hours, 100 hours of those. You must have a 1290 on the SAT or a 29 on the ACT. And I noted here that Bright Futures does accept mixed test scores. And if you're not familiar with that, what that means is that each of these tests have sub tests, or in where they get sub scores, and those sub scores added together give you the total score that you see here on the screen. So for example, if you took the SAT twice, and the first time you took it, you scored higher in math, but the second time you took it, you scored higher in reading. You could take those two highest scores from the two separate times that you took the SAT and combine them together to give you your best total score. That's called your super score. Bright Futures does accept test scores like that. So that's a great thing. So you can take that test as many times as you want, and you can take your best sub scores from any of the testing sessions that you did. The Florida Medallion Scholars is the second level. This is a scholarship that gives you a certain amount of money per credit hour. At a state university, it gives you $77 a credit hour, or at a community college, it gives you $63 per credit hour. Multiply that by 77, and that would be the amount of money that you got. It does not give money towards books or summer sessions. However, it's still a great amount of money that you would definitely want to work towards. In order to get this scholarship, you must have a 3.0 weighted GPA, and those 16 core academic classes have 75 hours of community service, and that's an 1170 on the SAT or a 26 on the ACT. And again, that level does accept mixed test scores as well. Now, the Bright Future Scholarship changes from year to year. The requirements change from year to year. This scholarship is dictated by our state legislature, So every spring session, they go through and they vote on what changes that they're going to make. So these are the requirements now for the graduating class of 2018. By the time we get to 2020, we may have some different requirements. So I will always each year give you an update on what's changing in Bright Futures, just so you're aware. So right now you just want to work towards these goals, and if anything changes, I will make sure to update you every fall. Here are listed the Bright Futures academics that are required in order to achieve Bright Futures. They are the SCA graduation requirements as well. You must have 4 English classes, 4 math classes, that's Algebra 1 or above. Pre-algebra does not count. 3 science classes, 2 must have major lab components. That's your biology and your chemistry. That's why SCA requires biology and chemistry in order to graduate. You must have 3 social science classes. Those are your histories, so that's a credit of U.S. history, a credit of world history, a half credit of government, and a half credit of economics. And then 2 consecutive years of a foreign language. That's 2 levels, meaning Latin 1, Latin 2, or Spanish 1, Spanish 2. You can't take a year of Spanish and a year of Latin. That will not count towards Bright Futures or towards your graduation requirement. So pay close attention to those, because that's what you will be needing to graduate and also to get the Bright Futures scholarships. Another important part of preparing for college is preparing for those college entrance exams. And every year, SCA administers the PSAT, that's a preliminary SAT test, to all of our freshmen, sophomores, and juniors. This year it will be October 11th at 8 a.m. We set aside all academic classes for that morning, and all of our freshmen, juniors, and seniors, freshmen, sophomores, and juniors will take that test. Our seniors actually do not have to take that because they are already taking the SAT and ACT. This will provide practice for the SAT, and it is also the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, NMSQT. The high scoring students may be eligible for a special scholarship program. That is the NMSQT. Colleges do not see these scores. This is purely practice for many of our students. It does not count towards college admissions as well. So excellent practice, but it also gives students access to Khan Academy. When they take this test and they get their scores back, they will actually have access to a free online test preparation service through Khan Academy, and it actually looks at the students' scores, see where they were weak and where they needed improvement, and Khan Academy will actually personalize an SAT preparation program for free through Khan Academy. So it is a great opportunity to take advantage of if a student wants to improve their scores. And that's all based upon their PSAT. So please mark that on your calendar. You are going to take the PSAT on October 11th. There are no alternative makeup days at SCA, so you must come. You must be at school this day. You must take it. So if there are any maybe like doctor's appointments or anything that you're planning to do, please make sure that you're here on October 11th, because we do not have makeup test days available for this. So we've been talking a lot about scholarships and college and preparation for college. Here are a couple of things that will just help you as you're thinking about the future. Number 1 is read. We want our students to be very well read. It really helps with standardized test taking if they have been faithful readers, and it helps with their comprehension, also building their vocabulary. We also want our students to take the most rigorous course schedule possible all the way through senior year. And when we say rigorous, we mean rigorous for them. Every student is different, and we know not every student will take the same course load, but we want the students to challenge themselves. Colleges want to see students that challenge themselves. If colleges see a transcript where a student took the bare minimum, they will probably think that they are not college material because they are not used to challenging themselves on an academic level. So you always want to see what is the most rigorous course schedule you can take for yourself, for your student. If you have any questions about that, that's what I'm here for. We can talk through those decisions together as a family with your school counselor. I'm happy to do that. Colleges also want to see you participate in extracurricular activities, take advantage of leadership opportunities, travel, participate in summer programs. And those are all things we have here at SCA. We have a variety of extracurricular activities that you can take part in. We do have leadership opportunities, great opportunities to do travel, whether that be studying abroad through educational travel or mission trips. We have those opportunities for you. So take advantage of all those things that you can and help build a great college resume. And what a college resume is, it basically kind of looks like a job resume, a career resume, but it lists all of your high school activities and awards. It's a great tool for college visits and scholarships. It showcases your talents and abilities. A lot of students like to include it in their scholarship applications and packets that they turn in, or their college applications and packets. Just a really nice piece that students can use to showcase themselves and show all the things that they've accomplished. If you need help, please come see me. I'm happy to help you build one of those. I actually have samples of those kind of college resumes on our SCA guidance website that you can take a look at, and they're also in our college advising handbook. I also like to keep copies in my office so I can pass them along to maybe a college admissions rep or recruiter that may be interested in you coming to their school. So if you decide to build one of those, update that regularly, update it every year, and give me a copy. I'll be happy to keep it in your guidance file in my office. So finally, just think of some goals for your sophomore year. Number one, we want you to grow spiritually at Sophomore Christian. Our main goal is to disciple your heart, that you would come to know and love Jesus, and that you would grow in your walk with him. Second thing is we want you to earn good grades, the best grades for you. Every student is different, but we want you to earn the best grades possible and continue to build that solid GPA that we talked about earlier. Get involved in extracurricular activities, start exploring the future, think about college and career, and follow that sophomore timeline. We have lots of resources available to you. We have our SCA guidance website and our sophomore timeline. I'm going to show you here in a second our SCA guidance website. We also have a college admissions handbook as well. And so if you are anxious about getting on the ball about college planning, check out our college admission handbook. It steps you through the whole entire college process, even from things like college visits to questions to ask when you go to college, when you go to visit colleges, to how to apply to different colleges. I even have a section in there about military, if you're interested in the military as well. And then also this spring for our freshmen and our sophomores, I have optional spring meetings with the school counselor. If you would like to sit down and chat with me, I open up times in the spring to do that. In the fall, I'm meeting with our seniors, getting their college applications together, and then I start meeting with our juniors in the late fall. But in the spring, I open up my calendar to sit down with you. So I'll email you in the spring and let you know when there's openings to come and meet with me, and we can set up times to do that. So if you would like to take advantage of that, those are completely optional. Those are not required, but I want you to know that that is available there to you. I want you to have a great year. Here's my contact information. My official title is the Director of Guidance and Enrollment Services, but my email address is also on the SCA website, and my direct extension in the office is 226. So I'm very, very happy to help you with any of that. I also wanted to show you just here quickly our SCA website. Once you click on the academic section, you will see a tab that says guidance. And right there, you can scroll down and you can see a lot of our information. These are some just guidance quick links. We talked about the college admission handbook, our high school profile there. Anytime you would need to request a transcript, those are all there for you. Our community service log is also located right here. But over on the right hand side, I have information broken down by year in high school. So you can click on the sophomore class and you can scroll and you can see all of these important announcements. I mentioned the sophomore year timeline. This is what you'll want to print out as a sophomore. And I have it broken down by season. And you can go through and see, what do I need to accomplish each season throughout sophomore year in order to be on track. So I would encourage families, print this out, talk through it as a family, and make plans to accomplish all of these goals. Sophomore year, there's not a ton of stuff on there, and that's That's okay, but we want to make sure that you have everything you need in order to be successful in your sophomore year. Again, so you have your guidance website here with lots of great information. Your sample college resume are here as well. We've talked about our NHS eligibility requirements. Then also over here is college and career exploration. You can search for colleges, explore majors, look at the different organizations out there that will help you identify colleges that may be a good fit for you. But this is your sophomore year. I want you to enjoy it, be prepared, grow spiritually, and just soak up the best years of your high school. Again, I am here to help you. If there's anything else we can do for you, please let me know. We hope you have a great, great year.